with Tyce Green.
It's
How are
me.
you?
I'm okay. How are
How's your day?
you?
Oh, I'm good. How's your day been? Have you been doing?
I'm okay. I returned to New York City yesterday for the first time since February of last year. The last time I was here, I was doing New York Fashion Week, and
Because you're a model.
you wouldn't know it by looking at me now, but once upon a time, no. When I'm actually, not living the life of a caveman, she's a module. So yeah, it's been crazy. I came back here and it was just I'm in the Broadway Plus offices. I'm in this tiny little booth, and
Oh,
here's
they
our
have an office?
yes, we just opened this office.
Where is it?
It is on 39th
Tell me
between
exactly where you are. I need the
to me
coordinates.
exactly where you are. I think you can find it online. We're on 39th between 7th and 8th.
You had a 50% chance of getting that
I
right. So
know. I've only been here once. We are above the new drama bookshop, the one that
Oh, the one that
Lin-Manuel bought.
it's not bad.
But it's really weird being in New York City though, because it's more residential now than it has ever been. Like, there's no tourists here basically. So it feels
Right.
calmer, and I like it like this. I wish that New York City was like this more often, but
I'm sure it's nice being able to legitimately cross the street without having to weave through people.
the joke about New York is that we don't live here because it's beautiful and pretty and smells nice. We live here because we're basically forced to, because for whatever reason, everybody decided that this literally the
The
smallest slab of
smallest.
land is going to be the entertainment capital. Like, why? Why not in Arizona? I don't understand. It makes no
Could have
sense.
been in Chicago.
Chicago's a little bit better, right? LA makes sense to me because
Oh
there's
yeah, you
space
just
at
keep going
least.
that way. I say this as
You know,
I don't live in New York. I am a tourist when I go to New York, technically.
yeah, but well, no, you're a performer, so you know what's up. You
Sort
know
of,
what's up. You're in
for the most
Toronto,
part.
right?
Oh my god, I wish. No, I'm in
Wait,
Chicago.
why do I keep thinking you're in Canada? Why do I keep
I
thinking
don't
that?
know.
You're not from Canada, are you?
No. Andrea
Gosh, why do
Macassette's in Canada. We're basically the same person, so it's easy to
Oh,
get us mixed up.
no, it's you and Sam Polly are the same person.
Oh, that was a question. That's someone wants to have your best Sam Polly impression.
Gosh, I don't know that I do it. I don't do an official Sam Polly impression. It would be more like an aesthetic thing.
Okay, so you're at the Broadway Plus
Broadway Plus
studios.
studios.
Talk to me a little bit about Broadway Plus and Artists Beyond and how that started, because that was basically you guys started before quarantine happened, right?
I don't know what Artists Beyond or Broadway Plus is. What are those things?
I
I'm so annoying. So basically, okay, so Artists and Beyond was a oh gosh, what was it? We pretty much like what we did pre-pandemic is we would connect Broadway artists to mostly to like educators, like schools and stuff, right? So XYZ school in Montana is doing Rent. I don't know what school in Montana is doing Rent, but let's say that they were. And we would reach out to them and I'd be like, yo, Adam Pascal is going to come and do a workshop and maybe do a concert at your school. And we would work it out with them. And then Adam would fly out and he'd go and do a class and a show or something like that, and whatever they wanted. So that was the business. It was all in person. And it was all based on like the artist going out and working with students at schools. So then pandemic happened, and you know, I suddenly, this little business that I created was not doing so well, and I had to figure it out. So when this all happened, I basically just like went into my vampire state and into my little den and stopped sleeping, and I emerged with Artists and Beyond. So Artists and Beyond was the name of the company before, but it obviously, you know, it just turned into a digital platform. And then of course, you know, I started being an idiot on Instagram and just getting out there and using a little alien emoji and just being like, yo, we're here, we got you. Um, and I attribute a lot of that to the success of it, because I think not only was it, not only like, you know, was it and is a just like a kind of no BS platform. It's just kind of like what you see is what you get. I'm coming on and I want to take a lesson with Sam Polly. I booked it. I'm taking that lesson next. And I love that. It's easy, right? But not only is it that, but it's like the way that I wanted to talk to people and the way that ultimately like our team started talking to people on Instagram was like, yo, we're nerds like y'all. Like we're all just in this together. And also all the artists are nerds. Like literally there's no difference. Um, I think that what we did was we sort of like took the elitism of it out. You know, like lessons kind of used to be this thing where it was like, oh my gosh, I love Laura Osnes so much. And like, oh my gosh, it would be so amazing to take a lesson with her. Like, yes, that's true. But there's a sort of like elitism to that.
It's really nice that like uh, what you did with Artists and Beyond is pushing lower prices and also allowing the artists to kind of choose what they wanted, which is nice. Not to say that other places were like, we're gonna make it the most expensive thing ever, but like that was what drew me.
Do you know what's funny about that is, see, going into it, it wasn't until like competition started, right? That there was this kind of price thing. I didn't even honestly consider the pricing one way or the other whenever I started it, because from the get-go, I let the artists pick their prices. And to me, I mean, that's how I think it always should be, because then the artist knows exactly what they're charging. They know exactly what they're getting. Like we're a company, we've got to take a cut so that we can, you know, we can make some money and we can pay our our lovely admins who literally don't sleep, myself included. And but knowing that, like knowing exactly what it is so important. And I think that like, you know, like Broadway Plus. So basically, Artists and Beyond started, right, and that was in like end of March, early April, and Broadway Plus had been, prior to pandemic, had been basically like a concierge service. So it was like,
yeah, you could get like backstage tours and
yeah,
things like that, right?
yeah, totally. So like, let's say you had a trip planned to New York and you're like, I want to meet the cast of Hamilton or something. You could book that, and you'd get this like kind of private guided tour, very similar to like a travel agency, basically, which was really dope.
The VIP experience, I think, is what they're
The concierge VIP
experience.
But yeah, so like it was that, and then they pivoted too, just like everybody else. And we basically were the two main ones. Broadway Booker also came along, but I really think A and B and Broadway Plus were the two that were doing it and scaling it really fast, out there, really just like in the trenches, getting people to know about it. And yeah, to your point, like yeah, the prices on Broadway Plus, they were significantly higher, and that is because where I was coming from was with A and B was like, artists just set their prices. That's because my whole experience for the last 10 years has been in doing educational sales and teaching myself too, you know, and being an actor and like just knowing what people expect and that kind of stuff. So that was kind of a no-brainer. Whereas Broadway Plus was coming from being a concierge service. And so they went, okay, we'll just set prices, and, you know, people should want to spend $250 on a lesson with so-and-so because that artist is worth that. It was really sort of more out of the value of the artist, and I think not necessarily recognizing, well, I don't want to say not recognizing, but the intentions were good. That makes any sense.
Right. It's just two
You know,
different viewpoints of what that business is.
ultimately, we were both trying to accomplish the same thing, and we have strengths in two different arenas. And now that we've come together and have spent the last 3 months, like just combining our forces and figuring out where we want to go, it's really exciting, actually. And if you notice, the prices on Broadway Plus have changed. But I feel like we do a really great job of listening to everybody and setting it based on everybody's kind of individual expectations. So it's not like a one size fits all thing. Um, and you know, when someone if we get enough emails about something, or DMs about something, and someone's going like, yeah, I really want to book this artist, but the price point's a little too high for me. Um, it's happened a couple times where I've gotten 5 or 6 of those emails, and I will call the artist and I'll say, hey, yo, I think you're missing out on all these bookings because the price is like $50 more. And they've just been like, all right, yeah, let's lower it. Let's get those people booked. I think transparency is so important. And that's another reason why, like, if you've noticed on social media with the A&B account, but also when we kind of infiltrated the Broadway Plus account, we've just been super direct with people. Just be like, hey, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, and then tell us what you want.
I have obviously used Artist and Beyond quite a bit. I think I've only used Broadway Plus twice, but they are very good. I like that they exist. It's a good thing that they exist.
I love that. What's your favorite musical?
What is my favorite musical?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I always say Wicked because Wicked is why I'm in the theater. But I have many. It kind of depends on like the genre and the style, and like
Give me like a top 3.
you can get really into it. Well, obviously I like Wicked. I like If Then. I liked If Then. Anything Tom Kit, Brian Yorkie, truly. I'm
Love that.
obsessed with. And I really liked Falsettos.
I
What do you ask?
many years ago, I was just curious. Many years ago, I sang at a honorary concert or something like that. It was in honor of Tom Kitt, and he was receiving some kind of award. I really don't even know why I was asked to sing, but I did. Oh, it's because I think there was something that was like 80s. There was some 80s stuff in there, and I sang an 80s tune. But
Because you're a rock pop vocalist.
because I'm a rocker
Rock.
popper. Anyway, I randomly sang a rock song. Oh, it must have been that because there was a lot of other, like, Justin Sargent sang something, and then Wilson Heredia sang some kind of like, I'm sailing away, whatever. Okay, but then so there was that. I think maybe it's because Tom Kitt loved 80s. There was some reason why. Anyway, other than that, there was also like a section where everybody sang. And at this particular concert, it was Julia Murney, Jen Damiano, LaShawns, Justin Sargent, me for whatever reason, Wilson Heredia, LaShawns. Julia Murney sang in that Tom Kitt thing. She sang I Miss the Mountains next to normal.
Ugh.
And LaShawn sang Always Starting Over. Okay, quick story. When I saw If Then,
go ahead though.
really
You're talking about Adina.
When I saw If Then, so I went to it because Anthony was like, "Hey, I'll get you tickets." Great. So I go backstage.
It's all you.
On that day, the guy who played Collins in the original cast of Rent, Jesse L. Martin, right? He was seeing the show that night too. So I go backstage and I meet Anthony, right? Jesse is there, and we go into Adina's dressing room. Adina is sitting on like a beanbag chair, like on the floor, like in the corner. People are like kind of talking, her dressing room is humongous, obviously. And she's eating like crackers out of a box, like goldfish or something like that. I don't know what possessed me, but I somehow have positioned myself like right next to her. Probably because like everybody's like partying, not partying, but like they're all talking and stuff. And Adina's literally like, she's like, seems like the woman who comes in and is like, where's the cat? Right? Which is fully me. That's fully me. So we've like positioned ourselves over in the corner. We're not chatting or anything, but I'm just sitting there and I'm just sort of being very nonchalant, not trying to freak out. And she's eating these goldfish. I am starving, Claire.
Did you ask her for a chip?
So I lean over and I go, hey, She goes, yeah. I've literally never met her. She's just like, yeah. I went, can I have some of those? And she's like, oh my God, just please take the box away from me. Hands me the box. And now I'm the one in the corner eating the goldfish or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, that's my Adina story. And somewhere I have a picture of her eating the goldfish. I think I took I was like, this is too funny.
That's hilarious. We have to get to Jesus Christ Superstar. You were in a year ago today, I guess.
Yes, true.
Sort of. You were in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Tyce. Superstar.
On tour, what was that like, being on tour with that? And then also, today is the 1-year anniversary of everything closing. So what was that like? What was that day like?
I have to point out that you're probably internally furious with me because you were like, we can only talk for 30 minutes and now it's been like 50 and you're going to be really mad at me. So I just want to point that out. Moving on.
I know a lot of it's going to be cut out. It's fine.
Yeah, so we were on tour a year ago today. Jesus Christ Superstar. I did not do any choreo in the show.
This is also a show that I don't know. I'm very sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, gosh, it was great. I mean, it's just great. It's a great show. I got to see it in London. Basically, I auditioned for it. So first of all, I didn't even know that this show was happening. Right. It had been about a couple of years since I had done a show. And the last thing I did was Altar Boys in San Francisco. But I had just finished doing this Christmas show with Berlin, which is a band. They had the big song, Take My Breath Away. And a couple months later, my manager calls and he says, hey, you're going to go in for Jesus Christ Superstar. And I was like, oh, where are they doing that? He was like, it's a tour. I was like, they're doing a tour? And he was like, yeah, actually there's a production in London. I was like, they revived it in London? He's like, yeah, I didn't know any of this. So then of course I'm looking it up and I'm looking at the concept of it and stuff. And it's just, it's so cool. It's not what you call your potato sack Jesus Christ Superstar. But yeah, so I auditioned. Here's a funny story about that audition. I go in and I didn't know what to prep. They hadn't given me sides. So it was kind of a classic little go in. I hadn't auditioned in a long time for a theater show. And so I walk in and they're like, hey, what's up? And I was like, hey, I'm Tyce. They were like, what are you going to sing? I was like, yeah, I'm going to sing what that guy's saying. And they were like, I was like, no, I am in fact going to sing what that guy sang. So I did, and then I sang Gethsemane, and they were like, great. And they were like, oh, you did Altar Boys, so you dance. And I went, well, no, I don't really dance. I did, in fact, dance very heavily in Altar Boys, but I was telling them, I was like, that was a very special situation because I had like a month to learn the show and like a dedicated choreographer that they had given me. They were very nice about it. And, there's only 5 guys in the show. So they were like, here is your person and you can work with them as much as you want to. And that is the only way that I got through that show. I was like, if you guys are looking for somebody who can dance, do a bunch of choreo, I was like, I'm not your guy. I just said that. I was like, I'm not your guy. Because I didn't want to waste their time. They're like, well, why don't you can you come to a dance call? I said, I really don't want to do a dance call. And they were like, why not? I was like, because I have no dance skill. You just heard me. I'm a singer. I'm an actor, a singer. I can stand and communicate and and I can make educated decisions with my body, not predetermined choreography decisions. And they were like, well, please, will you just come and try? And I said, yes, I will, because you're asking me to do it. But I really want you to know that if I go and it's very complicated and I embarrass myself, I don't want you to feel like your time has been wasted. So I was very upfront with them about this, because at a certain point, you just to go like, this, right? You just go like, I'm good at this and I'm not good at this. And you know, when you're younger, when you're like 19, 20 years old, like you can get away with like not being like trying out new things, right? And
Mhm.
being like, I'm generalizing, but in terms of dance, when it comes to dance, right? Um, when you get like, you know, at 29, 28, whatever, however I was, 27, I don't remember how old I was then, but like, I'm just like, I'm not gonna be a dancer. I can learn choreo, but I'm not gonna be a dancer. I'm not
Right.
gonna be like a dancer. And if you need somebody to do that thing, I don't want to take a job away from that person
Right.
because you're gonna be really upset with me. You're gonna be really mad that you're giving me money to do this. Okay. So anyway, that said, they were like, just come and do it. Your boy shows up to this, and it is in fact an invited dance call. I am surrounded by, not surrounded. There was like 8 other guys there, 8 other people. It was girls and guys. They were all people that had just graduated college, that had just like spent 4 years in musical theater school where you take dance every day. They weren't considered dancers. This was like a movement thing, but we were taught the crazy dance. If you go and look, there's a bootleg of it. It's some of the most insane choreography, and we were taught that stuff. And Drew, I think Drew was there, or if not Drew, then Ashley, the associate, um, who's in Diana now. Um, and I watched him teach it, and I just went like this because I just knew right then, and I just knew, I felt justified, but also I was like, damn, I'm here, okay. So I did it, and it was horribly embarrassing. Horribly embarrassing. To be honest with you, I'm not afraid to say it. I really was quite upset, actually. I'm not upset with the outcome because there's a happy ending at the end of at the end of the whole thing. But I was kind of upset that they had made me do that because it was exactly what I told them that I didn't want to do. So basically they go, okay, cool. So we're going to make some cuts. First name they call, Tyce. I go, so I walk up, and Gail, who's the casting director, she goes, can I see you outside? So she takes me outside, and she's like, yeah, you're like not really great at dancing. I went, yeah, I'm terrible. I told you. And she's like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you did, I guess. So she's like, we're gonna have you read for some principal roles. And I was like, great. So then began the journey of that portion. I don't know why they put me through that. I really don't know why. It makes no sense to me because it had no it added no value to my audition process whatsoever. In fact, it devalued what I was able to offer. But I basically then ended up learning basically every role except for Judas, um, and just went in, and I think I had 3 more auditions, and then they were like, "Yeah, you're gonna be Ash," who's like Iago in my mind.
But it's great.
You'll
It's
never be the Sultan of Agrabah.
that's good. Well,
Much louder.
congrats on that whole journey of yours. Um, when it comes to, but hey, I mean, for people watching, at least you know that you never know what they're thinking in their brains, and sometimes they're wrong. Many times they're wrong,
You
but it's fine.
you never know.
You never know. You might still be
I
cast.
you should.
Um, wow, that's so fun to go and see it in
Mm-hmm.
London. Les Mis is another show that I don't know. Now I'm just listing shows that I don't know for you because you think that I
That's
am like that theater kid, and I when I tell you I don't know shows, I mean I don't know shows.
shows that I don't know, a podcast.
Wouldn't that be funny if I had to do what is that thing that was it Broadway.com that Laura Benanti did that thing where she would go and she would explain all of the Tony noms, but it's like none of the shows were correct. That's me.
I'm obsessed with that and with Laura Benanti.
Okay, well, I'm gonna end this interview, but we can continue talking if that is something that you want to do.
No, it's
but
fine.
um,
I need to go work anyway.
thanks for sitting and chatting with me for an hour.
Claire's sitting there going like, not this. Yeah, well, thanks for waits for what to thank me for. Nothing comes to mind.
I will say I think it's been funny because I have you on gallery view, and it's been funny watching both of us be the same person and fix our hair every 3 seconds.
It's gonna be the footage you use.
Yes. Okay, well, book through. Am I telling people to book through just Broadway Plus now? Is that
Book
what
through
I'm
Broadway,
telling people?
yes, book through Broadway Plus because that's
When
what's happening.
Well,
All right, my dear.
have fun with
I
the
love
rest
you,
of your
mean it.
day.
Miss you already.